Welcome to Movie Night with the Boys.
I'm John.
And I'm Zach. We'll be your hosts for this podcast.
And tonight we are discussing Predestination.
Oh,
Tell us about it, Zach.
I love this movie. Um, yeah, I probably watched this movie 2016 for the first time. It was pretty sweet. But yeah, so Predestination basically chronicles the life of a temporal agent sent on a eccentric series of time traveling journeys designed to ensure the continuation of his law enforcement career for all eternity. Now, now on his final assignment, the agent must pursue the one criminal that has eluded him throughout time. Yeah. So that's basically the generic version of what happens throughout the movie, right? Our cast list, we have basically only three actors in the whole movie. So, you have
Yeah.
so there's the barkeep who is Ethan Hawke. Uh, Mr. Robinson, that was Noah Taylor. And then you had Jane and John, who was played by Sarah Snoke, which she did an amazing job, I might add.
Oh, she was fabulous. She was very good.
Right?
I just off the get for her introduction, I was convinced I was looking at a man. I was convinced.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I first watched it, I wasn't really paying attention to that very much until you know, um, until it's revealed. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so basically the movie is based off a short story from 1959 called All You Zombies, um, which I read the short story and it's essentially just a fast version of the movie. So I don't, me personally, I don't quite understand the name of it, but but yeah, um, they talk a lot about the Ouroboros, the snake that's eating its own tail, basically, you know, circle, just keeps going around and
The
around,
end.
right? Um, yeah, this movie is essentially just a never-ending paradox. When
Yeah.
you think about it. Um, but yeah,
But
so
that's the question that we can discuss later. That part we'll discuss at the end of the movie because I think there's something to be said about this paradox.
okay, um, yeah, so basically, well, let's get into it, right?
So this will be the good, the bad, and the meh. Um, everyone's got an opinion about everything. We're gonna express our ups, our downs, and our whatevers when it comes to this movie. Um, my first, my first good, being the person who's seeing this movie for the first time today, was this story delivered a powerful emotional impact within the first 15 minutes, which is an impressive turn for a movie that I've never seen before. Because most movies wait a little while to really start digging at the emotion. And the whole scene with Jane or John in the bar meeting Ethan Hawke and the conversation and the way that it just progresses so smoothly but so quickly, I was actually on the edge of my seat almost immediately just because I wanted to know how it was going to turn out.
Hmm. Um, well, how long did it take you to realize that Ethan Hawke was also John.
I didn't know. I didn't know until the fucking end.
Oh wow.
Like
Okay.
that part evaded me.
Huh. Okay.
To be perfectly honest, I thought, and I picked this up early on. It was about the scene in the hospital when they told Jane that she couldn't continue. I think it was about then, but it might have been earlier. She was in the hospital. It was okay. The doctor was telling her about the baby when they were telling her about her uh, inside mix-up. Um, at that point, I was convinced that Ethan Hawke was the baby's father, and I guess I was right. But the point of it was unclear to me at first until the the whole scene of the first time you see the repetition, because I didn't see that coming. I personally didn't see that part coming.
Okay. Okay. Um, what I actually like really enjoyed is that you actually got the whole story basically from life, like from beginning life to death. Like you actually get a whole story, and
Yep.
it is told kind of very, I don't know, chopped up in like from two different angles, but I
Mhm.
don't know. I really enjoyed the storytelling and all the twists, but watching it again, like watching it, this is what, third or fourth time watching it. Uh, the movie tells you basically from the get go what's like everything that's going on. You just,
You just got to pick up on the cues.
yeah, and be paying attention for that, and it's just like,
I mean,
because I was watching and I was just like, huh, okay, hmm, right? Like always, even the first time I watched it, that song that was playing, like I'm my own grandpa. Um,
yeah, I started picking up on some shit with that too.
but no, like from the get go, I kind of that right off the bat, and I was just like, hmm. And then every single time, John was like, "Oh, you wouldn't understand." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I would understand." Right? Like everything, it was all there, and it's just like, huh. That's why I did enjoy watching it, like again for the fourth time. Let me see a
Yep.
lot more
Yep.
stuff. Um, the meh, honestly, I don't really have a meh, right? Um, I would say maybe more so like about her childhood when she's like fighting and stuff. Like that's kind of meh. I don't really see um, that being too important, right? Or when she almost gets hit by the car, and then the guy's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And she's like, "Bang!" Punches the window, and she's like, "Fuck you!" And I'm like,
Yeah, she
"Damn,
just punched the headlight. Like
yeah,
I would have to completely agree on the meth for that because it just that specific scene, that's what comes to mind. She didn't have any with the amount of physicality that she shows in every other scene. There's no reason for her to get mad and punch a fucking headlight out of a car. There was no reason for her to look outside the fence. I mean, the only reason I can see that she pursued that specific course of action, and it's very minorly related to later, is how at the end of it all, love was still a factor to them all. Like how, you say you don't love, but you do love, and that's what you really want, but you're afraid. The scene at dinner. So that right there, that scene that we're discussing as the meh, though I completely agree, is meh. It could have been left out because the rest of the movie would have filled in the gaps anyways. But the I think the imagery was she saw the little girl being given chocolate or ice cream, I believe it was, and it just made her want that family aspect of love. So to that degree, I still say meh.
yeah." I mean, that doesn't really make sense why dude still punch the light because,
Yeah, oh yeah,
right? It's,
that whole, like I said,
yeah,
meh.
and
If they left it looking through the fence, it would have been meh. but at least it would have made sense and ended where it needed.
Exactly, because they also didn't show us her fighting like all the other girls until after that scene,
Yep.
right? So it wasn't like we knew she was aggressive, and I don't think she really was until she started getting picked on, right? So
That's what it seemed like. She didn't seem like she antagonized at first.
no, yeah, and then the bad. Honestly, I don't really have much bad. Like, maybe go back to the mess scene. That was my bad. That's my bad choice as well.
Um, I think my bad isn't that a scene happened. I think it was that it happened in a way that I would have rathered it be differently placed.
What do you mean?
So that opening scene with the bomb when he's running into the boiler room there, I would have much rathered the movie start with him opening his eyes after the explosion when he was already all fucked up. And then I would rather him have had that be like a flashback or something later on. Because it still could have happened, but I don't think opening the movie with that beat, it just seemed a little bit too in your face for how the rest of the 45 minutes of introduction and material that wasn't mostly action. Because 45 minutes into the movie, we were still in the bar. So half the movie was spent after a 45-second, 1 minute scene of explosion and, a fight and him giving him his violin back
Yeah, but
and all of that
that
stuff
doesn't
happening.
happen at the beginning of the movie.
It didn't happen right at the beginning?
No, at the beginning of the
What did I miss?
at the beginning of the movie, he got blown up, and then someone passed him his thing, and he disappeared and woke up in the hospital. It was
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, but it was a
That's what I'm
2-second
talking about.
scene, though. That's the whole point. But that's the whole thing. That's where the story starts. That's where he sees the paradox. That's where it starts.
Oh, no, no, no. No, I know. I get what I'm saying is
No, it
I
wouldn't.
would
It
have
would,
rather.
but that's the whole thing, right? You can't say really it could start wherever, but I don't see a problem with it
Yeah.
starting with that explosion, right? Like I don't,
Eh,
you know what I mean? It shows like it's just that's the whole thing. It's supposed to just you're not supposed to really understand what's going on, right?
No, of
And
course I get that.
but then again,
I
too,
get
what there was no flashbacks in this whole movie other than when he was telling the story, right? That was it. That was it. Everything else after that, the whole next time they show off that scene, right? There that the barkeep isn't reminiscing at all. So you would have never seen that scene if the movie didn't start from there,
I know.
right?
I'm
So,
not saying
but
that
that's what you're saying,
that's
though. If
what
you
I'm
want to
saying,
start in a
like,
different place, that cuts that whole scene out.
no, I'm saying if there was a way, this is again, if there was a way to fluidly put that in somewhere else without it being just filler somewhere, I personally would have liked to see the movie start with him opening his eyes because when he opened his eyes in the hospital scene, the way they looked, the way that they were clearly still full of the expression of shock, it kind of left me like,
Okay, but
ooh,
the guy didn't lose his memory. He knew what was going on. So when he opened his eyes, nobody explained you were caught in an explosion. So again,
yeah,
you can't just have
yeah.
him wake up and that's that. You know what I mean? Like there has
I suppose that's fair, but again, that's part of the replacing the scene with, if it could fluidly replace.
no,
That's
but that's
just
what
how I
I'm saying.
would.
I don't think you could do that.
Probably not, but I would, as a viewer myself, I would have just liked to see that opening scene with that just the boom to the face. I like those kind of opening, almost not jump scare, but like just like it jumps at you kind of moment. I like those kind. That's just
I don't
a
know.
perspective that I have.
I think it was like perfectly
No,
fine.
I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was
But
the only thing that I think
that's
I
your
would have
bad
called
choice though,
it bad. I don't want to make no bads. I gotta say something.
right?
Anywho,
But yeah, real. Honestly, I really don't have any bad.
I have no actual criticisms for the movie.
The only, yeah, no, I don't really. I don't. It was a great. Like I loved it. So yeah, I have to
Yeah.
say
Oh yeah.
my meh is also my bad. So that's that. Um,
That's why this is an opinion piece.
basically.
Um.
But uh, but here's the other thing too, right? So think about this: the barkeep essentially has to kidnap his own grandchild and bring him back to the past so that he can continue to exist.
No, he's not going to kidnap his grandchild. He's going back to kidnap himself.
It's still no, it's his grandchild. You don't like you don't understand. When he goes down, he is the guy that he's like touching. He's his lover. He's his father. That's the whole thing.
He's also himself, though. It.
Yeah, but
He
but
is
you're not
her.
looking at it proper. Yes, he is her, she is him. But they're all still like the two people who
Oh,
made
yeah.
the two people who made
Timeline.
the kid is are the parents. So herself like herself and himself
Okay.
are the mom and the father. Therefore,
I,
whoever is the father of the person who created said person is the grandfather. That's what it is. That's the whole purpose of adding the I'm my own grandpa because that's exactly what it is. Like so he keeps
I
stealing
mean,
his own grandchild, which is himself, to take back in
yes.
the past so he can continue to exist.
I just think it's misleading to call your own, like, literally 100% your own DNA your grandchild.
But that,
I
but
think
but
it's just
that's what it is. But they
no. I
regardless,
get it. It's a
regardless.
generation.
But
It's a
that's
generation.
it's that. But as imagine if it was like if it was actual, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't.
No, I get it. No, I get what you're saying. I just again, it's layering differently because of how much you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I totally understand. It's about the generation.
right. I don't know if you caught that though, but what about did you catch the fact that the Fizzle Bomber is the reason why time travel was created?
I think I missed that.
Yeah, you definitely did. Right?
I'm guessing you didn't catch it the first time either.
No, no, I didn't. Definitely not. I don't really remember the first time I watched it, to be honest, because seen it a
You
couple
just
more.
remember love.
I just yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Fizzle Bomber, right, is the reason why like time travel is created in the first place. And the other thing is, Mr. Robinson was behind the Fizzle Bomber from the get go because he's the one who created John and Jane and essentially created that paradox to try and
Huh.
make the perfect time agent. He says it all. He says the whole thing.
I must have
Yeah,
misunderstood his
he's like
monologue.
you're the like you have no connection to the past
I
or
heard
the
him
future.
say the perfect
Yeah, he explained. Yeah,
paradox.
exactly. He
Yeah.
explained it. He's the one who did that.
I didn't pick up that he drove it like that, but I guess it makes sense.
What do you mean? They said it at the end of the movie. That's where they was said. Buddy, like Mr. Robinson said all his shit, right?
Yeah.
Told you to say that he was the one who did it. Then you go to the end of the movie when he's talking to the Fizzle Bomber, and the Fizzle Bomber is like, Mr. Robinson is the one who created us. And
Oh.
then it makes all sense. That's what I'm like. You have like you got to connect it all. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing.
Well, like I said, I got everything else connected. Obviously, I kind of actually picked up that he was the bomber earlier on. Like it registered to me as a sensible thing with the whole kind of like the Looper way to look at it. I think we said that you had seen Looper, right?
Kinda. I don't really remember it.
So essentially, You kill people sent back in time until you kill yourself when you get sent back in time, and when you kill yourself, then you can stop doing the job and you progress forward, and then you're sent back a certain number of years later. You're sent back to be killed by yourself. It's an infinite loop.
Okay, but they don't know that they're killing themselves. That's I remember that's the premise of it and the whole.
Yes, yes, but well, what I'm saying is it's similar in the fact that it's infinite loop.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I guess, yeah. This
At least that's what I picked up on.
this movie was like kind of a mixture of Predestination and Minority Report.
Predestination was the movie.
Or sorry, Looper and Looper.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that 100%. Minority Report was essentially the same movie, but with much less personal and much more
What do you? There was
broad
no
scale.
time travel in that.
Minority Report wasn't the one where they no, that wasn't time travel. It was they got information that was
They could stop
they
crime before
determined
it
the
happened.
yeah. Yeah, it was a similar aspect though. It was basically the same definition, predestination.
How? That makes absolutely no
Well,
sense.
'cause you're figuring it out before it gets determined. Well, before it happens.
Okay, but there's no pre like there's no there's no predestination. Like there's no um there's no loop. There's you know what I mean? Like there's no paradox. The whole purpose of
Well, no, that's
predestination is a paradox.
oh yeah, that's right. You said that. I still think predestiny when I hear it, but that's what I told you off mic.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. Predestination is a paradox in itself. So it's the only thing that's kind of relatable is that that's what their jobs are. They are agents to stop crime before it happens, which again was stated
Yeah,
directly in the movie. You know what I mean? Um,
yeah. Even though you only actually see one. Well, I mean, you get the board of all the different fizzle bombings, but you only really see the fizzle bomber. I don't think you get any other no other criminal activities in that movie.
no, because the movie is literally just focused on one person's life. So whatever
Yeah,
else is going on is irrelevant, not part of
yeah.
the story.
It would have been nice. It would have been nice to see something happen besides just the one story, just to show that just to show
But
that it's
why build
more than just a paradox.
but why build on a world that only revolves around literally two act two actors essentially. There's no point.
Well, why mention it at all
What?
if you're gonna not bring it up? Well, they have to mention the idea that that's what they're doing, but they don't. If they don't really have to talk about it, if it's not really gonna be in the movie, right? I mean, if it's never gonna be brought up again, even as a passing statement, I
But
guess
if
it
what
should
is it?
be.
What isn't though? What isn't being
It's
brought up?
the
I mean,
well, they talk about what they do, right? They basically go back in time and stop crime,
yeah. So
but
this
you never see that.
yes, because it's about this character because but you do see him going back and trying to stop
Well, you
things. What
see
he's
him
doing
do it.
is he's but that's the thing. They're explaining what he is doing. You don't need to see the rest of the time force. There's only
I actually,
only really there's 13 agents or something like that. There's a very small number,
yeah, I
and
think it was 12. It was
to
12,
be
yeah.
honest, it's they could literally just be 13 different versions of John himself.
Well, that's what I was thinking actually.
So maybe
I
you are
kind of had
seeing
this little.
maybe you are seeing the whole time hero is his life. That's it,
Well, no, that was my thought. I was thinking that maybe the aspect of it, the whole paradox, was actually just to keep him going as a paradox.
right? And that's the other thing too, right? Think about it when he wakes up at the very beginning of the movie, the first two things he sees, right, are two signs.
Yeah,
Remember what those signs said?
I remember reading them, but I don't remember what they said.
Um, Never do yesterday what should be done tomorrow.
Oh, and then if at last you succeed, don't try again.
Never try again. right?
Never Dragon. Yeah.
Again, all of that. It's giving you the whole the whole movie is right there. But essentially, at the end of the movie, you see how he's dead set on not becoming the Fizzle Bomber. But at the end of the movie, you see him while he's staring at the screen. He kind of realizes that he has to become the Fizzle Bomber. If he doesn't become the Fizzle Bomber, he doesn't exist,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Which is the paradox, and I think that's what I was saying. Is it's left you at the end of the movie. You're left with that. Does he actually go through with it? Because you don't see him do anything, and it's the does he end his loop? Does he want it to end, or does he want it to continue? Because at that point, fate is in his hand.
no, it's not. That's the whole predestination. All his regardless of what he wants to do, he is going to do this said thing, and that's the paradox. Constant. That's the Boros. He'll just go round and round. That's the thing of the movie. He will always become the Fizzle Bomber.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I can't argue with the logic behind it.
Right. That's the whole thing, right? They'll always they basically just they'll always end up creating themselves because
Yeah.
again, without the Fizzle Bomber, he doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I think if I'm remembering correctly, the last thing that he said to his younger self was, "And I love her too." I believe is what it was, or one of the last things he said to himself was, "I love her too."
I loved her too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, yeah, you must be absolutely right with that because if he loved her as much as he's saying he does, and his feelings are obviously true throughout the movie,
Well, here's the other
it would only
thing
make
though.
sense.
He, as the barkeep, he is the guy who ruined John's life.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He is John, like that, like he's the one. So he is their child, right? So the two of them had a child.
I
Hence
know.
why he like touches his hand before he leaves at the end of the movie when John is in the bed, right?
Hmm.
So that's the
I got all that. I saw those things. The little minor details that Nick in there are they're really cleverly placed.
I mean, it was a good movie.
Oh, again, I 100% agree. I think it was fantastic.
Right? But yeah, that's the whole thing. The other thing too, I've seen people kind of hated on the fact that he just kind of gave him the bottle of liquor and said, "Oh yeah, you win," right? Like didn't really acknowledge the whole story and everything. And it's like, well, because it's his story.
Yeah, it's got to play out a certain way. Obviously, if things change, if he didn't give the bottle of liquor, he would come off as a person who wasn't honest and betray the trust of himself, and then probably steer away the events. I mean, little things can change big things.
Yeah, but I mean,
At least that's
realist.
perceived.
No, but look at it this way. He could have easily said no, not given the bottle, and be like, because I've been through this exact same thing, except I was blown up and I had surgery, and blah 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 blah. Like his life has significantly got worse from that point as well, right? He was blown up,
Yeah,
right?
that's fair.
So technically, yeah, he could have easily said, "No, my story's worse," right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
So, but yeah, so
Well,
But yeah, so
I'm on your side 100%. This movie was fantastic. Thank you for suggesting it to me.
hmm so I guess our next segment is if you would replace any of the actors, who would you replace them with?
So what I was saying is I was going to let you go first.
Oh, oh, I yeah, honestly, because there really was only three actors in this movie. I don't have any. I thought they all did a great job, so I don't have no thoughts on that. So nobody. I wouldn't replace anybody.
Well,
Hmm.
you see, it's an opinion, not who you would actually change, because I agree the actors were fantastic. But for funsies, just for funsies, um, I thought early on that Kevin Bacon would be good in Ethan Hawke's place.
No, he's too old.
Just for fun.
Mm.
No, not really. He's about the same age. Ethan Hawke's, I think, in his 50s. And I'm pretty sure Kevin Bacon's right around the same.
Yeah,
You're
but
gonna hate my go. You guys say go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, yeah, no, I don't think so. Wait, who? Who did you say?
Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon.
Okay, I was thinking about somebody else. Yeah, I guess, but no, no.
No, I agree. Ethan Hawke was perfect for the role, but I thought very early on, with the grittiness of the new voice and the way he was presenting himself, I could have seen Kevin Bacon do it. You're gonna hate who I said. You're absolutely gonna hate who I said for Sarah Snook. Or
Who?
says the Sarah Snook, Sarah Snook.
Who?
Emma fucking Watson. No, sorry, not Watson. Stone. Emma Stone.
Yeah, no, that would have been terrible.
I knew you were gonna say that. She kind of when she was mostly Jane, I kind of got the Emma Stone vibe from her quite a bit. She had that what was the movie that Emma Stone was in? It was with the A. It was a big something A. Big bad A or big letter A. Something. It was she was a high school student. She had that same look with the bangs and the glasses, and I just kind of immediately almost placed her in the same spot, and it registered to me for that. But I don't see her doing the John role so well.
So
So that's where
why
that
would
whole thing
you even bother
ended.
casting her?
Because it's
That makes
fun.
no sense.
I don't know. I can't believe this movie didn't get in trouble for the whole PC thing. A lot of people around that time would have said, "Hey, this should have been a transgendered actor," because of I mean, all the things that were coming out. I mean, they had Bryan Cranston getting in trouble for playing a quadriplegic. Um, wasn't it Scarlett Johansson got in trouble for Ghost in a Shell? You know what I mean? Like they had all these different things that were going on in this relative same time period. So I, I just I never heard anything about this one, but I also again I thought the movie was great, so I wouldn't actually change the actors
It was 2004,
just for fun.
2014.
Yeah, that's within the last decade.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I don't remember it being so cancel culture.
There was just there was a lot of things that changed in the last 10 or so years, and maybe it was a little bit after this, but again, I have no problem with the casting of this movie. The story was great. The premise was great. The fact that this came from a short story was really impressive, because they made a 90-minute movie and it didn't feel long or drawn out. It didn't feel like any scene was unnecessary. It didn't feel like anything needed to be changed actually. So, I mean, overall, I can't actually say that I'm saying anything bad about the movie. I'm just having fun with my the fan casts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, still, if you're gonna do a fan cast, do a good job. That's why I didn't.
Kevin Bacon's a good job, goddamn
I
you.
didn't bother.
Kevin Bacon is a good job,
No,
goddamn
I
you.
was thinking like I don't know why, but I was thinking like Kevin Spacey when you said that, and I'm like, that no,
Ah,
like that's
definitely not.
yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
No, Kevin Bacon,
No, that's why
much, much,
that's why I
much
had to
more.
ask you again. I'm like, wait a second, did he say Kevin Bacon? I was like, okay, that that's not maybe, but I was like, yeah, no. But yeah, no. To your logic for
I
that,
know.
any basically any actress could have basically played that role.
No, there was just things about her that she gave me the Emma Stone vibe.
When has
It
Emma
wasn't. It
Stone been
was
in a role where she's beating people up and
that
being
wasn't
and
that
being
wasn't part of the
pretentious?
that wasn't part of the vibe. You said pretentious?
Yeah, she's like
Did you say she was okay? So I could tell you that there was a movie she was pretentious in, and you'll remember movie 43.
I don't remember that movie. I don't even think I've seen that movie to be honest.
Bruh, it's a skit movie. It's pretty funny. You'll
Oh
probably
yeah,
hate
no,
it
I've
because
seen
you
it, but I
hate
don't
her.
remember it. But yeah, I don't really care for skip movies.
She, yeah, well, she had a scene with I want to say it was Kieran Culkin in a grocery store, and they were just going back and forth with really dirty shit. He said, she, she goes, "How's your HPV?" And he goes, "It's your HPV. I'm just carrying it." And they just bicker back and forth with shit like that.
How is that
I think it's.
pretentious?
There was other things that they were saying. I remember her just being kind of wordy, and I don't remember the words obviously, but I think it was along the same lines of pretentiousness. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
Definitely.
You don't remember either. Don't even act like
No,
that.
I'm saying you're definitely wrong. Like those two, like her, the actress, like Sarah Snoke and that character. No, I mean like I mean pretentious that she thought she was better than everybody. She had a chip on her shoulder. They said it repeatedly in the movie. That's what I'm saying.
No, that I knew. That I
Yeah,
got.
but you're
And
saying that
again,
and you're saying that oh her Emma Stone being vulgar is the same as that. Like no, that's not.
wasn't vulgar. There was more to it. I think she was being snooty, and I think that's what I was picking up on. But, anyways, let's not ramble about something so menial.
Yeah, so yeah, the next session.
This is the director thing, and I'm keeping this on a loose basis. I don't know exactly if I would call this a constant, but I had this feeling in the middle of the movie that I would have liked to see Christopher Nolan take on a project like this. I think he could have done a lot with the whole time travel esque part of it and the paradox to it. I think he would have made it look more visually impacting, which I think the only thing that I could improve upon this movie would be make it more visual because there was a lot to it, and I like the pop, the way that everything like flew away when they time traveled. I thought that was really cool, but I feel like there could have been more visual impact to it that would have made it. I don't know. I like the matrixy, visually flashy things. I'm into that kind of stuff. So I think if Christopher Nolan took on this movie, he would have had a. It would have been much more Inception.
Yeah, but I think that would have eluded from the movie.
Yeah, I know it could have very much taken away from the plot. I do like that there was much less detail paid to the unnecessary things, whereas in a lot of movies, people will place like they'll do little spots for advertisements and shit like that. I didn't catch anything besides douars in this movie for any kind of advertising. If I'm remembering like realistically, That's the only thing that I remember from the movie in terms of like a label or a name brand anything, because that was the bottle that that he gave to
Yeah,
John.
yeah. What about M. Night Shyamalan?
Dude, I had that thought too, because this movie is all twisty.
Hmm.
I think, but I think the problem that Shamalama Lama 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 Ding Dong would have would have had is that he would have made everyone wait to the very end for all the twists, and it would have been like a maybe 1 minute and 30-second flash sequence of all the different things that made you that at first you didn't pick up on, and then the last scene is all of them in the same scene almost instantly at the same time across infinite universes, realizing, holy shit, we're all the same person. That would have been Shamalama Lama, Bamalama, Damalama.
But this,
That would have been his.
but that's exactly what you said happened. You didn't realize until
No, no,
the
no,
end of the
no.
movie
I
the barkeep was,
no, no, no.
and then at the very
The
end,
barkeep, sure,
of the movie, you find out that the barkeep is the Fizzle Bomb.
is also the bomber. I actually, like I said earlier, I kind of picked up on that a little bit sooner. I figured that out when he fought himself in the boiler room the second time. I kind of picked up on it then. He was There was a lot of effort paid to keep the face down.
He only
There
he
was a
only
lot of
fights the guy once.
I know, but he, it
He only fought.
the fighting style. They were fighting the same.
Yeah, but if he was an agent, they know. Yeah, but they know that. I'm sure they knew that he's an agent.
Who, the bomber?
I'm almost positive they knew he was an agent.
No, I don't remember them saying that, but I guess it's possible they knew. I mean, I guess in
Mr.
theory,
Robinson
Robinson knows.
created him.
I
That's the
suppose
whole
so, yeah,
thing, right? So
yeah. So yeah, yeah,
Mr. Robinson gives him the thing to go and find him at the end of the movie. It's just Mr. Robinson set it all up. Like,
yeah, yeah. Shit, I am gonna have to watch this movie again.
I told you to watch it twice.
So next week we're gonna cover The Guilty, a Netflix movie that neither of us have seen.
Hey guys, Zach here. We're actually going to be watching The One. It's a Jet Li movie from 2001. Um, because we just don't think that the movie that we chose is going to be very interesting. But we may save that one for a later date. So for now, this next week, we're going to be watching The One with Jet Li.
So yeah, we're gonna cover that movie next week, and hopefully we get some listeners by then.
Hey, we have 4 subscribers on YouTube.
Wow,
2 of them are us.
3 of them are our own account.
2.
Hey, that's a start. I'll take 2. I'll take 2. I like 2. That's that 50% of our subscribers aren't us.
There you go.
That's a good way to check out our demographic there. So, for the end of our episodes, we're going to promote things that we suggest people would check out for our own interests. One being one of the major inspirations for me is the Dynamic Duel podcast, hosted by Marvelous Joe and Johnny DC. They do battles, they do reviews. The battles are really cool. You get good background on Marvel and DC characters, and it's a really good time if you get so far as to be committed to them in a way that you'd be committed to a Patreon account. Then you get to check out their additional remedies on there. But we'll let you talk to them about that.
Yeah, so
Another podcast.
check
Oh, go
them
ahead.
out at dynamicduel.com.
Yes, or anywhere you can find podcasts. Another thing that I would recommend, I've been listening to a lot of TTRPG podcasts, and I really, really enjoy NADPod. Um, I feel they kind of inspired me in a way to get back into tabletop gaming, and I am actively trying to be involved in at least one or two games right now, along with a champions game that we play with the Dynamic Duel podcast group. So that's something to check out if you're into that kind of a thing. And what about you, Zach? What do you got?
Um, I'm listening to a bunch of podcasts at the moment. One of my favorite podcasts that I do like a lot is actually called Fruit Loops, and it's a it's a true crime podcast, right? And it's a true crime podcast about serial killers who are of color, essentially, right?
Huh.
Um, Very good podcast. I would definitely say if you're into true crime, check them out. Wendy and Beth are the hosts. They're hilarious, and yeah, I would have to say that's probably my podcast shout out. So
Excellent.
yeah,
Excellent.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for us.
yeah.
Not not to be. I guess it's been
check out
real.
check out our YouTube channel at Movie Night with the Boys, and yeah, I guess that's us signing off. Deuces.